So in this video I'm going to go through how I've come up with my marathon plan for a Geneva marathon. So it's a 10-week plan, and yeah, I'm basically just going to run through the different elements of it and how I've kind of planned it all out. So there's going to be pretty much 4 different types of runs that I'm going to do. So I'm going to just do my easy runs, and I've got these on set days. So Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays will be the main days for easy running. The reason I have set days is that I'll do certain speed work on certain days, which I'll go into a bit later. But yeah, these easy runs are basically to get my mileage up each week. So some of these days I'll be doing 2 easy runs a day, so double sessions, and other days I'll just be doing 1 easy run, maybe even just as a recovery run. But yeah, so easy is based on effort level rather than kind of pace or anything like that. In the past I've done it based on heart rate, but this year I'm just going purely on effort to see how that ends up. So by doing that so far, I'm doing my easy runs a bit faster than last year, but it's not kind of fatiguing the legs, so I'm happy enough to keep going with it. Next type of run I'll be doing is a steady pace run. So this is kind of a certain amount of seconds, maybe slower than my marathon pace, so probably in around maybe 20 to 30 seconds slower, depending on kind of how I feel in terms of fatigue on the day. This is the kind of run I'll be doing maybe only once or twice a week, probably for longer efforts. And yeah, so this one is kind of, you try to maintain a pace and effort level for the duration of the run, so your paces aren't moving up and down too much. So yeah, for me these will probably run somewhere between kind of 4:05 to maybe 4:20 per kilometer pace, and these are to build up not just your kind of overall fitness but your endurance as well. So you're going a little bit slower the marathon pace, but yeah, you're still building quite a lot of endurance by kind of maintaining that same speed. And it'll also just help to kind of learn speed control and being able to maintain a pace, which is what you want on race day as well. Another type of run I'll be doing is tempo runs. So these are again kind of done at in and around a steady enough pace in terms of keeping it consistent, but these will probably be a little bit quicker than marathon pace, or else just run at marathon pace. So these ones I probably just do once, maybe twice in the same week, and they'll tend to be longer efforts than what intervals would be. So it is a speed session, but it's kind of a longer one, so it's building up your speed endurance rather than your kind of actual overall speed. So these ones might be ranging from 6-ish kilometers to maybe into the double digits, and you might do a couple of reps during that. So when I get into the actual training videos, you'll see examples of these tempo sessions, but for now, yeah, that's kind of all the detail you really need for it. So the final kind of run will be threshold runs. So these ones are run a fair bit quicker than your marathon pace within your threshold zone. So my threshold zone somewhere kind of depending on the day and different elements, my threshold zones can be somewhere between 3:25 per kilometer to maybe around 3:45ish per kilometer. So for longer threshold reps, I'll be doing the slower end of that scale, and then for the shorter reps, for example like 800 meters or 1 kilometer reps, yeah, these will be done kind of closer to that 3:25, 3:30 pace. Within all that, I will also be doing long runs, obviously to build up the endurance, but they'll kind of fit in with these. So for example, elements of the long run will be done at an easy pace, elements will be done at a steady pace, and then also at a tempo pace. So for example, the most recent long run that I did on Sunday, it was a 29-kilometer run, and within this run, so I did about 3 kilometers as a little warm-up, and then I broke it into different reps. So these are kind of done at a tempo pace, so I was trying to kind of hit my marathon pace for each of these reps. So I went kind of in a downward staircase, I guess you could call it, or some people maybe call it a ladder, but first rep was 6k, then the next rep 5k, 4k, 3k, 2k, and finish off with a 1k rep. So I'm building up that endurance, and obviously just to make it more kind of feasible and sustainable. The more that I went on, the shorter the reps got. So it was quite a tough session, especially because it's kind of the first week of the marathon block. So yeah, that was mixing kind of tempo into an easy run. So in between each of those reps was an easy pace, just to basically give myself a chance to recover and go again for the next one. So that's an example of the kind of long runs I'll be doing. But I'm going to mix it up each week. So in my previous plan, I pretty much was doing the same workouts each week, and I was just maybe increasing distance on a long run. For this one, I kind of want to mix up the workouts I'm doing. So, for example, one week on a Wednesday, I might do a tempo session. The next week, I might do a threshold session, or maybe even a VO2 max session. But VO2 max is kind of an extension of a threshold session. It's just at a harder pace. So yeah, I want to mix it up and keep the body kind of having to adapt, and I'm hoping that'll give me kind of more gains by doing it that way. So one other element that I'm adding to this plan that wasn't really in my previous plan is rest days. So I'm going to work on a 14-day cycle. I'm going to take one rest day every 14-ish days at some point within that 2-week period. So it doesn't have to be on the 14th day every time. It's just something that I'm going to do because I'm not really great at giving my body the rest it probably needs to adapt to training and get the benefits of training. So yeah, every 2 weeks. I don't think I need to rest every single week. I think my body's kind of built up the ability to kind of take the hits and take in the distance. So for example, in week 2 I took the Monday off, so then going into maybe the end of week 3 I might take a Friday off rather than waiting for 2 weeks and then taking a Monday off again. That Friday off will work perfectly with doing the Sheffield Half Marathon that I'll talk about in this video. So yeah, every 2 weeks, 1 day off at least. So another element I'm going to bring into this plan that I didn't really have in the last plan too much is I'm going to be cross training. I'm going to aim to get out on the bike once a week. In the previous one I occasionally did indoor cycles, but I don't really think they give you the same kind of stimulus and fitness benefits as getting outdoors and doing it. So as much as I can, kind of once a week at least, if I can get out on the bike, that'd be quite good. What this is basically is free fitness, so you're building up your aerobic fitness without really putting any strain on the legs. I'm not really going out at like a hard pace or anything. I'm just sort of cruising along. So yeah, it's more about the time out on the bike and the distance that I'm covering rather than the speed. So try to get out for a cycle that's over an hour long, multiple hours if I can. The reason I'm going to do this is, like I said, it gives you the free aerobic fitness without really building up fatigue in the legs, but it also will build strength in the legs. It kind of incorporates different muscles than maybe what running does. So yeah, just make the legs a bit stronger, which will hopefully help avoid injuries, as well as just kind of actual leg strength for running. So another reason is when I did Ironman, I put most of my focus into the cycling. I was already a decent runner, and I did do a bit of swimming, but in an Ironman you spend most of the time out on the bike, so I put most focus into that, and it's probably the fittest I've ever been. And I was finding running fast pace is quite easy back then. And on top of that, I'm hoping my running mileage would be at least 120 kilometers a week. So last week was week 1, I did 129 kilometers, so kind of bang on what I wanted to do, a little bit over 120, because that's just basically the minimum I want to do. The only exception to that is deload weeks. So I'm going to take deload weeks. One of them will be pretty much built into the taper. The other one will be after 3 or 4 weeks of the training plan. So it'll break down into basically a 3 or 4 week of kind of heavy and consistent work, high mileage. Give myself the deload week, which might drop down to 100 or less kilometers that week, and possibly maybe get out more on the bike and something like that and stuff like that, if possible, for that week. But yeah, so the deload week after 3 or 4 weeks, that'll give me another 3 or 4 weeks after that, depending on which week I take it, to build up the kind of final stage, which is basically the taper, which is going to effectively be the second deload week. So there'll be a deload week and then race week pretty much. So I do a 2-week taper. So the next element of this plan is that I'm aiming to do 2 events at least during this plan. The reason for this is that I just find during these events you push yourself a little bit harder than you might do in training. So for example, the half marathon that I just did, the Middlesbrough one, I think if I'd been feeling the way I was feeling during that race in training, I might have dropped back a bit, eased off, and maybe not even finished. If for example, if my session was 21 kilometers that day, I might not have finished that if it wasn't for a race. So the idea of adding in races into the plan is, first of all, to gauge your fitness at a certain time, and then second of all, is to basically give yourself that mental push. I just think I'm more likely to push that bit harder if it's a race as opposed to just a training session. So the next event I'm going to do is the Sheffield Half Marathon. So that's on the 23rd of March. So it's only a couple of weeks after the Middlesbrough half that I did, and it's actually from now it's about a week and a half away. So I won't have kind of gained a ton of fitness in the meantime, and one element of this race that it's actually pretty much the first half of it is all just uphill climbing. So the pace may not be kind of an accurate reflection from this half marathon for the full marathon itself, but I think those hills are going to be a good challenge, a good training stimulus. Hills are very important. They build a ton of strength in the legs, and they'll build up your endurance much quicker than kind of most other elements of running. So I don't really mind that it's so hilly. It's going to be tough, but it's about kind of learning to, I suppose, pace your efforts as well. So can I start off a little bit slower and then finish when I'm going downhill in the half marathon? Can I finish a bit faster? And that'll again be a bit of a training stimulus for marathon day itself, where you do want to finish a bit faster if you can, if you get a negative split. So that's kind of why I've chosen that one. It's also kind of the date and location of it suits me. So yeah, Sheffield Half Marathon in about a week and a half, and I'm just going to do pretty much a normal training week for that week. The only difference is I'll probably take the Friday off, and I'll probably front load my runs. So for example, if I'm doing double easy runs, I'll get them in on Monday and Tuesday, and that means I'll probably be covering 50 to 60 kilometers in those 2 days. I'll probably do my normal speed session on a Wednesday, easy running on the Thursday, and then probably Friday off, so no speed session. Saturday be a shakeout, and then I'm into my half marathon. So it'll all be a good way of kind of adapting my training, front load it, and then give myself a little mini taper, but not really a full taper, because again it is a race, but it's a training session at the same time. After that, it'll be I may take the date out of the week after that, or else it'll be the following week, but from there I'll want to do one more race, and I'll aim to do this around the 27th of April, so this will be 2 weeks before the full marathon. So this will be kind of one of the last major sessions. Your body takes about 2 weeks to adapt to these sessions. So 27th of April I'll maybe do another half marathon, and really push the effort in that. So I'll try to go a bit faster the marathon pace obviously at that point, and this will just give me a good idea of kind of what pace I could aim to run the Geneva Marathon in, and again just a final test of fitness 2 weeks out. So haven't really booked one yet. I've looked at a few, for example, like I may end up doing the Coventry one, but I haven't fully decided yet. So it's just in the mind at the moment, so it's not actually something that's definitely planned to do yet. So one other element on the plan is my gym work. So for gym work, the main thing is that I'm going to try hit my legs twice a week as a proper leg day. So other days I'll be doing other stuff like plyometrics, but proper leg day like squats, deadlifts, single leg work. So that's Wednesdays and Sundays. Wednesday is a bit more of a kind of intermediate day, and then Sunday is looking to really kind of hit heavier weights and more reps. So the reason for that is that Wednesday is after a speed session, so it gives me a little bit of time to recover for my next speed session, and then Sunday is a heavier day because I've got 2 easy days before my first speed session of the week on a Wednesday. Another thing I'm trying to do is to hit core twice a week if I can. So I do kind of a little bit of a circuit for my core. I've done a video way back when I started the channel. You can have a rough idea what I'm doing, and some things have changed, but it's mostly the same. But I kind of 30 to 40 minutes twice a week is ideal. If I can't get there twice a week for the session, I want to hit at least once a week. So ideally on a Wednesday, kind of during the daytime, before I do my speed session, and probably a Saturday as well. Just kind of the days that suit me the best to do it. But yeah, twice a week is ideal. Once a week is kind of the minimum. So now I'm going to break down the training that I've done for week 1 of this training plan. I did the Middlesbrough half marathon on the 2nd of March. So training plan began on the Monday after, so the 3rd of March. So I just did a pure recovery run. I think it was 9.5 kilometers, 50-minute run. Just a very easy pace. Body was obviously quite tired after the half marathon. But yeah, day 1 of the plan, I just wanted to get going. And recovery, I'll just get the blood flowing in the legs. And yeah, just help you to be able to run sooner, basically. So nice and easy to run, very low mileage for what I usually do, but beneficial. Then moving on to the Tuesday, so I did 16 kilometers, an hour and 20 minutes. Again, just pure easy pace, nothing added in, no strides, nothing in like that. A little bit to kind of facilitate more recovery, but also just to kind of start building up the mileage and get ready for a bit of speed work on Wednesday. I didn't want to go in for 2 really short recovery days and then straight into kind of that speed work. So the focus was just get the time in on the feet. So then on Wednesday, I did want to do a bit of a faster session, but I kind of knew the body wasn't ready for like a tempo or threshold, so I went with a steady session. So again, this is a bit of speed work. This was done around 30 seconds slower than my marathon pace, but done at a fairly consistent pace throughout. So overall I did about 19 kilometers at a steady pace. So 4:18 per kilometer pace, hour and 20-minute run. So again, similar time on feet as the previous day, but this time just going a little bit faster and a little bit further. So the idea of this one, just to build up that endurance at the same time as building the fitness. You don't want your heart rate spiking too high during this. Obviously it's not going to be kind of at an easy heart rate, but it's going to be kind of in between easy and a threshold session. So just something to watch that doesn't go too high. But again, I'm not really focused on heart rate too much this year. I'm going by effort. So the effort was steady, and this was probably on the slower side of a steady session for me. But again, after the half marathon, that's no surprise. So then moving on to the Thursday, and this is the first double session of the plan. So just 2 easy runs, 10 kilometers and 11 kilometers. So nothing too crazy. Both doing at an easy enough pace, around kind of 4:45 to 4:50ish per kilometer, and both taking less than an hour. So just a nice kind of casual bit of mileage. Again, just give the body a chance to recover from basically starting to build up straight off the back of a race, and get you ready for a harder session on the Friday. Then moving on to the Friday, so this was another double day. This time Friday is a speed work day for me. Kind of anytime I'm running on Friday, I'm going to aim for it to be a speed session. So kind of non-negotiable there. The first one, I actually went out to the track, which I had to drive to, and for some reason, even though I had booked on the track website and everything, the track was closed that day, so I couldn't get in, and basically had to do a run in kind of an area I'm not too used to running, and probably is a bit more kind of uphill than I would have liked for doing a threshold session. But first half it was uphill, which meant the second half it was downhill, so kind of made the last couple of reps a little bit easier, I guess. So I kind of took it. So the session was 4x2k at my LT1 pace, which is kind of around 340, 345-ish. So did hit each rep. I wasn't sure kind of how it would go. Again, the body was still feeling a bit tired, but yeah, I did hit each rep. So you see on screen what I did: 340 per kilometer, 336, 338 and 341. So those are good paces for what I'm looking for here. I want it to be on the lower end of threshold, but it's still building threshold, and doing 2 kilometers at once, just building up a bit of endurance. It's harder to do these runs out on the road than it is on the track. The track gives you a bit more energy return, and it's obviously flat. So yeah, doing these uphill and stuff meant a tougher effort, but I'll just benefit from that. So I didn't mind it too much because of that, but obviously it was a really tough session. I was kind of keeling over after the last rep. It didn't help that it was uphill for the last kind of half kilometre, but yeah, really good session. It'll only move the fitness forward. Later on the day, I then did another session, so 8 by 1 kilometre at my LT2, which is kind of the faster end of your threshold pace. So paces I was aiming for here were a bit closer to 3:30, and I'll put up on screen to see the different speeds I hit. So I was slowing towards the end, and I wasn't surprised. It was my first double speed day of this plan, first double speed day in quite a good few months now. So yeah, was expecting to kind of struggle towards the end, and probably went out a bit faster than I wanted. I think also didn't help the wind was with me on the first set of reps and against me on the second set. So yeah, this session again went pretty much the plan. Again, tough kind of mental block towards the end. I just wanted to stop, maybe not do the 8 rep, leave it at 7, because I was already struggling by 7. But yeah, one thing I want to do is kind of also just build up that mental strength and endurance to kind of push more on in sessions. So if I'm struggling towards the end, sometimes I'd maybe cut a rep off. This time I want to do as much as I can and see how sustainable that is. And that also fits in. We want to do kind of the races during the plan, because again, I'll just push that a little bit more. That was the Friday double threshold session. Moving on to Saturday then, and first thing in the morning, went out on the bike and did about an hour and 25 minutes on the bike. I have a few different loops that I do, so this is obviously the shorter loop, and as time goes up I want to build that up. If I can hit more towards like 100 kilometers one of the weeks, that'd be really good. But for now, this was only kind of just under a 40 kilometer ride, so nothing too crazy, nothing too fast, just nice easy effort just to build up the fitness a little bit. So then later on Saturday evening, just a 10k kind of recovery run, so nothing crazy, about 50 minutes out on the run, nice easy pace, just to get the blood flowing, get recovery in, and to get my mileage up to 100 kilometers for the week at this point, knowing that I was going to do my Sunday long run the next day. So yeah, pretty much just to get me ready for that Sunday session, and to hit the mileage that I was looking to hit that week. So then I've already talked about the Sunday session a bit earlier on, so yeah, bit of a kind of pyramid workout, whatever you want to call it. So 3 kilometer warm up, first rep 6 kilometers at marathon pace with a 1 kilometer float, then 5k, 4k, 3k, 2k and 1k. So in total this is a 29 kilometer run. It took me just under 2 hours, so going at a fair pace, and yeah, I was actually able to hit my paces the whole way along, and kind of happy with that. Obviously the reps are getting shorter, but you're more fatigued going into them, so to be able to kind of maintain the pace was pretty good. So I think overall that's 21 kilometers of marathon pace work. So yeah, pretty good. And then 8 kilometers of kind of easier work, and kind of recovery in between reps. So yeah, overall for the week, 129 kilometers. Pretty much every run went to plan. Dealt with a bit of fatigue from the race the Sunday before, and was able to still complete all my sessions. So quite happy with how the first week went, and yeah, hopefully things will continue along that way. So yeah, that's pretty much my marathon plan and my training summary for week 1. So if you did watch the whole way through, I hope you enjoyed watching it. I hope it was good information in there. Any questions or anything about the plan or how I've come up with what I've come up with, just stick them in the comments. I'll answer them. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.